2 by 2, the field behind Nemechek and Hamlin, making up row number 1. John Hunter Nemechek in the 20. On the outside, Denny Hamlin, the 7th different driver behind the wheel of the 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing this season. So much success at this racetrack for Denny Hamlin. Crowd on their feet as we get ready to start the Xfinity Series race on this Labor Day weekend from Darlington.
Right away, the 19 of Denny Hamlin tries to give way. Cole Custer takes advantage of it, goes right around on the outside and moves into the 2nd position.
You'd think that the bottom groove would be the preferred line, but the outside can be very competitive on restarts. You see them fighting hard through turns 1 and 2, sliding up off of 4, almost into the fence with the back of the car is the 16, Smith. 3 wide back here, something's gonna have to give. Smartly, everyone's backing out early in the race. Maybe not later, but right now, making all the right choices.
Riley Herbst and the 48 of Parker Kligerman, those two fighting for that final 12th spot in playoff standings. It seems like they're always door to door.
Riley rolled the center of the corner really well, but you mentioned that outside, Junior. Even in turn 4, that outside is able to carry the momentum. Now Riley has to play some defense.
There's Sheldon Creed in the 2, Brett Moffitt in the 25 on the inside.
24 right in front of him, Corey Heim. Not a driver we talk a lot about in Xfinity, over from the Truck Series, with the trucks not running this week, and the 98 and the 48 still side by side.
And you see how the 48 can race you down into the corner. Parker, even on the outside, we used to have to give that up. You'd never drive side by side down into turn 1, but the track's wider. That outside line actually can be the fastest way around by yourself into turn 1. And drivers now no longer to lift and give up the spot to the driver on the inside.
Brandon Jones in that fluorescent 9 on the top of your screen, getting a little shove there from Chandler Smith in the 16. Austin Hill in the 21 on the inside.
Hill in that 21, he went to the bottom trying to make a move, and everybody's lined up on that outside, and that makes you as a driver want to get real aggressive on corner entry right here, and he's able to clear him off the 2.
He made Smith jump out of the throttle, squeezed him into the wall, made him nervous about hitting the fence. Marty, what you got on this 21 car?
Well, it's fun to watch the bubble battle down there with Parker Kligerman and Riley Herbst swapping it back and forth for 12th. But Austin Hill came in with that regular season points lead we talked about a moment ago. Are they worried about points today? Listen to a spotter right before the race started.
Close to crunch time here on the end of the regular season until it goes into the playoffs. The 2's up by 60. The 98 is out by 20. The 48 is in by 20. And the 9 has to win. Just a reminder, if some of those guys are racing you super hard, that's probably why. Yeah, tip I got you.
So, Jeff, do you always want to know those playoff scenarios and into the regular season scenarios going out on the track just to know, hey, who you're racing around and what their situation is?
Yeah, I think it's important to understand what everybody's situation is because they are desperate. They're not going to cut you any slack, and you need to recognize how hard you can race people and also how hard they're going to race you.
Here's the 8 of Josh Berry, still winless in 2023 with Daniel Hemrick in the 11 on the outside.
Yeah, he's been racing hard. Oh my goodness.
Hemrick about gets sideways.
Hemrick and the 8 of Josh Berry had a terrible corner exit of turn 4. Larson patient there between both drivers. See him wiggling down into turn 1. That tells you how much these cars are willing to slide around, how easily that can happen. So the 11 is the first car to keep your eye on right here. Up against the fence. The car starts to swing the back. He needs to correct, but he's got Josh. Wow, they slapped together right there. Josh's right rear quarter panel gets into the side of the 11. That could have been catastrophic this early in the race for both.
Yeah, and even though we're only 7 laps into this race, they've lost over a second of speed. So that's how much the cars have changed. They're just losing grip.
Now watch Larson try to tag this 8 car. He's going to take this spot easily from Josh. just a whole lot quicker through the corner right there. And he tried that high entry into 1 to set that pass up to be able to get underneath the 8 car in turn 2.
And that move by the 8 by Josh Berry, as well as the 11 of Hemrick, that did their tires no favors. Like, that made their tires mad. It got them hot, and you're going to just have to cool it off here just a little bit.
Nemechek still out in front.
Yeah, just pedal it. He was trying to carry too much speed right there. No big deal.
And you see Hemrick entering high into 1. He's watching Larson up there make great time. That's one thing about it. You watch drivers that pass you, you watch their line and see where they're making speed. It's their car, but sometimes things they're doing on the racetrack, and that's a great driver right there in that 17, Kyle Larson, to be following and understanding what, making adjustments to your line to try to find more speed.
Larson, after starting 12th, has made his way already up into the top 5, running in that 5th position, still 3.7 seconds behind race leader John Hunter Nemechek out front for the first 10 laps here.
Is already locked into the playoffs by getting a win earlier this year at the Phoenix Raceway. But Sammy Smith puts some of the caution flag here for the first time. John Hunter Nemechek, the leader. Cole Custer, Denny Hamlin, Justin Allgaier, and Kyle Larson, the top 5. Dan Lockley, Kyle Larson has looked pretty quick so far. He's been able to pick up some spots, and he's cracked the top 5 now early on here in stage 1. On pit road. Not really much damage, if any at all, to his Toyota Supra.
Fans, make sure to download the official app of NASCAR. You can follow all the action with free live scoring, in-car cameras, and a radio broadcast. All you have to do is search NASCAR in your app store and start a free trial today. The 18, Sammy Smith, is on pit road right now under caution, and this is why.
Yeah, trying to leave turn 4 and goes the throttle up, and the car just comes around on him. Here we go, great shot.
Yeah, this is on board the 45 Rajah Caruth, and he's waiting on the 18. He got a little slide job there, and he's just kind of waiting on the 18, but the 18 gets really loose, arrow loose, sliding up in front of the 45.
Yes.
Marty, what you got on the 18 car?
Yeah, Junior, you nailed it. He said I was already way too free in the first place. Sammy Smith came on the radio and told Jeff Mendering, his crew chief. And then he said when the 45 got behind me, it just made it all worse. So you're right, just way too arrow loose. The problem, though, Steve, this will now put them down a set of tires versus the rest of the field. And that's everything here at Darlington, fresh Goodyear rubber.
Yeah, down a set of tires, and if they would have been able to stay on the lead lap, I think they almost could have won the stage from last, burning that extra set of tires. But I believe he lost a lap. So Jeff and you know, now Sammy Smith, this is going to sound crazy, but he just needs to go nice and easy on this set of tires and hope he gets a quick caution for the free pass.
Yeah, just save these tires. Just, you know, just stay where you are. And you know, this has been a problem for this team lately. This is 6th straight race they've had an accident, and team got off to a good start, but lately it's been tough sledding.
We have a restart. When we come back to Darlington Raceway, Sammy Smith, the early slide here.
can you get some great NASCAR merch, you get the track merch, right? They got this, Lady in Black, Cookout Southern 500 hats. They have the official program as well. There's a lot of good choices, but you need to take your time. Look there, number 70, one of my favorite t-shirts for the ladies. Nice retro look there. You got to take your time because there's so much to see. A huge selection of hats, tumbler cups, magnets. They have something for everyone, all the way down to some sunscreen. Maybe you forgot your sunscreen. And of course, they're here to help. So if you don't see something, ask about it. They got little figurines down there, some shot glasses, and of course those famous sun hats that everybody likes. You can even get a cushion to sit on. So if you haven't been before, we're celebrating NASCAR 75th anniversary, and I say the official track merchandise trailer is a must-see.
Hey race fans, Monica Palumbo here in the Midway, and something that's really cool here at Darlington Raceway is there's all these amazing older race cars here as NASCAR is celebrating its 75th anniversary. There's tons of race cars out here that expand through the years, all different makes, models, styles, years, different drivers. Here's a Junior Johnson one out here. It's really cool to see. So if you're walking around the Midway and want to take in a piece of NASCAR history, here it is as we celebrate NASCAR's 75th anniversary.
All of that is on display over there in the Midway behind the main grandstands here at Darlington Raceway. Starter has given the field the one-to-go signal. They have picked their lanes for the restart, and we are now less than a lap away from going back under the green flag. There will be 29 laps left in stage one.
Tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock, West Virginia versus number 7 Penn State. It's the premiere of Big Ten Saturday night. You're watching NASCAR Xfinity Series from Darlington, the Sport Clips VFW 200. John Hunter Nemechek is out front. A few cars at the back of the field came to pit road. The caution came out for Sammy Smith spinning in the 18. So now it's Nemechek, Custer, Hamlin, Allgaier, and Larson, the top 5. Custer on the outside, Nemechek on the inside as they get ready for the restart. And again, John Hunter Nemechek jumps out front to a 2-car length lead.
Almost spun out. Hemrick, big save. Don't know if Allgaier got in the wall right there. 3 wide now. Down into turn 3.
Hill on the inside in the 21. Hemrick right in the middle, and Allgaier in the 7 on the outside. And now here comes Josh Berry. He puts the front bumper to the back bumper of the 7, and Allgaier now clears.
Let's take a look.
See, the 11 just got really loose underneath the car on the outside of him. The 21 of Hill got behind him to pull the air off the spoiler and just pulled the back end of the car around.
Junior, I thought that thing must have pirouetted down the straightaway as much as you said that thing was going around.
I thought he was spun out. I'm watching it out the window straight across the looking at the other side of the racetrack live, man, and it's like, whoa, he's not going to save it. Incredible job by him and everyone else to be patient there. That's a wreck in most cases at Darlington as the battle's still sorting itself out back in the field.
And we've already seen cars, the back end's coming around on them, and these things are tough to handle. It looks like a handful early here. Dave.
And remember, Hemrick is 11th out of 12 playoff drivers right now on points, so he can't afford a bad day. And you might have seen it as he exited the corner. That's when the problem occurred on that first run. He told his team, free on throttle. Right here when he goes back to the gas, the car just wants to come around. I'm sure the cars around him didn't help that situation either.
That's right. I mean, he's on the inside. It's a tough corner. It's a restart. You're trying to do everything you can and asking a lot of his car. And then, just like you said, Jeff, earlier when we saw him get loose, when you slide that tire, you might as well just take 5 laps off of it. That right rear is going to be mad. Now he's got cars pressing from behind, and he's going to need to allow that tire to cool back down to be able to get it back underneath the car and get it back comfortable. 17 car Kyle Larson still driving through the field. Same thing we saw in the race here earlier this year. He was driving the 10 car for Colleague earlier this year, won stage 1, battled hard with Nemechek throughout the day. He's trying to set up a great pass for second place here on Cole Custer. Custer also ran good here earlier this year. The top 3 right now looking like a repeat.
How do you guys feel about the Cup drivers racing in this race? We've got Larson, Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain.
I personally see it from so many different. Oh,
that was close.
Yeah.
Brandon Jones almost wrecked. He was in the wall in the entrance of 1, and he was turned sideways in the middle of the corner. I'm not sure what started all of that. Let's go back and look.
It's on the inside of the 24 here. Loose, turning down in. The car just got out from under him, and usually, you drive down there. Looks like maybe he turns in right here, and it's just sideways before and he's got to drive it up the racetrack, and crossing up that banking is going to make the car even more loose. So he's in big, big trouble right there.
I mean, look how loose it is. And then, the 24 car, Corey Heim, he's like, man, what are you doing? I'm just up here. I'm not doing anything wrong. And Corey did a nice job there.
17 did a slide job. Larson did a slide job down in 3 and 4 to be able to get around that 0-0, slows them both up, and allows Denny Hamlin in that 19 to close up. Look at the entry of the 17. 1 groove up the racetrack, but look at the gain through the middle of the corner. That's why that works. It does not look like a it's a very unusual entry. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but you see right here how it makes so much speed that continues all the way to turn 3. Marty.
And Dale, you can just see how good these Cup drivers are as Denny Hamlin tries to get 3rd on Cole Custer. Meanwhile, Kyle Larson started 12th today, now up in 2nd. I talked to Greg Ives, his crew chief, and he said on the 17 team, we haven't won yet this year. This is our last race of the year for Hendrick Motorsports as Hamlin does get that 3rd position. So we want to win for Kyle behind the wheel and win for Mr. H in this paint scheme. But an interesting thing he said, Steve, the top 8 here in the Xfinity Series, those guys are so good. We haven't hit our adjustments right. We're talking about a Cup pit crew, Steve. And he said, we're behind with these guys. We've had to work hard to make our cars better. We'll see if Larson can get it done today.
Well, I mean, this Xfinity Series and the guys that run in it each and every week, they understand these cars are different than the Cup cars. I spent some time with Greg yesterday, and we talked a lot about his trip over to France. He was part of that Garage 56 project. He was looking forward to this race right here, and how could you not? You were talking about Cup guys in the field. It's not just Cup guys. These 4 drivers equate to 137 Cup wins and 135 Xfinity Series wins. Wow. So when you talk about a stacked field drivers, right, it's not, oh, hey, Cup guys. It's a group of Cup regulars that are some of the best.
Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek knows that one of those great race car drivers is coming from behind, so John's got to try to step it up, and when he does it, here we go. We're going to get a little Darlington stripe right there. That's what happens. You go try to find a little more speed, and then the next thing you know, this is going on. I think it's great experience, though, Kim, for Nemechek racing with Larson. I just think it makes Nemechek better.
Absolutely, and that's what John Hunter told me this morning. This 1-2 position of John Hunter in 1st and Larson in 2nd is reminiscent of the end of the race in the spring here with Larson coming out on top. And I asked John Hunter what he learned from that, and he said, when the Cup guys run this race, it makes me a better driver. He said, I got schooled in the spring. He said he knows exactly how he got beat in the spring. He watched film, he looked at data, and in terms of knowing exactly what to do so it doesn't happen again if he's in the same position.
John Hunter Nemechek right now with just a little over a half-second lead over Kyle Larson. Then it's Hamlin, Custer, and Allgaier in the top 5. comes Kyle Busch in the 10, trying to get by Josh Berry. He's not going to be able to make it this time by. Races him door to door, maybe even a little contact made there between the two. As Riley Herbst comes up behind the 8. This time, Kyle Busch will clear him.
Riley Herbst is trying to get by this 8 car. He's in there running in 10th, but we know how important points are to him. That cleared him by Berry up into 9th place. He's run Busch down, actually, and currently he's got Parker Kligerman in 12th. So with 12 to go, there's some more points that Riley Herbst could go get.
These two got together just a second ago right there.
And Kyle Busch was loose on the exit of 4 and just got into the side of Berry.
Yep. Talking to Berry, listening to Berry's radio, sounds like he's not very comfortable either as he's fading back through the pack, struggling with a loose bounce as well. Everybody's cars are driving bad right now. Even the guy leading the race is not happy with something about the car, wanting some sort of an adjustment, improvement to be made. Marty, what you got on that 8?
Boy, Junior, that's the 4 spot Josh Berry has lost in the last 8 laps. So what's going on? To your point, listen to the radio.
I mean, this thing's awful. It is so loose getting into the corner. I mean, it just ruins it. Ruins both ends. 10-4, loose end, both ends. Yes, I said it's loose end.
There you go, some frustration developing on the radio for the 8 team. And Jeff, he said it's so loose on entry that it's ruining the exit of the corner as well. Loose on entry, how tough is that here at Darlington?
Yeah, it's really hard, Marty, because you really have to attack these corners. You have to drive in the corner hard, run up to the wall. And even, you know, we saw Larson running right against the wall on corner entry, Hamlin running right against the wall on corner entry. Well, the car can't do that or he'll hit it. And there's some speed that he's given up just having to protect a little bit. And then right there in the middle of the corner, if you're loose, you see what happens. You just cannot be aggressive with the throttle and they just drive by you.
I have never drove something this bad in my entire life.
If you roll back the audio from the first race here, I think the comments were similar. They ended up with a top 10. I mean, these are frustrating moments, and you can tell the car doesn't drive good. And when the car doesn't drive good at any track, you get angry, but even more so at a track like Darlington, because a bad handling car just a little bit off can be it can be so hard to stay out of the way and even make the lap time.
Under
8 laps to go. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, Rick. I mean, 8 laps to go. You just try to convince the driver to get it to the finish line of this stage. We'll try to make the adjustments we need to make. There could be a problem. There could be a little slow leak with the tire or something like that that's creating this issue. Try to keep the driver out of the fence, keep him focused on the task at hand.
We know that Josh Berry in the 8 not happy with his car. Dave, what about the 98?
Rick, that was the case for Riley Herbst a little while ago. Listen.
I'm tied up the hill into 1 with no front tires, but as I try to give it gas, I have no rear tires either through 1 and 2. And 4 rear grip 4 as well. I didn't say that. I said I got no front going up the hill on 1.
But he's mostly recovered from that and has been moving in the right direction. As for his bubble battle combatant, Parker Kligerman, he has been bad from the start. Tight in the corner, shattering the front tires on both ends, and getting that promise, drivers, you've heard it before, we'll fix you up. Hang on.
I'm impressed, Dave. Bubble battle combatant. I think you can say that 3 times fast.
I'm not going to try, but every driver out there is not happy with their car. That's what Darlington does. The most important thing, and I think some of the frustration you heard out of Josh Berry's radio, was that not that the crew chief heard him, but there was really not maybe the importance or the emphasis on the radio and not sort of compassion of, we hear you, we see it. Where do you stack up? Are you good? Are you bad? Yes, we aren't good. We see with what you're saying. You know, you have to give the driver more than 10-4, I heard it. It's like, man, I'm out here working as hard as I can work. Could you please give me a little bit more enthusiasm than 10-4, I heard it. Now, one driver who's having a fun time is the guy who's on the freshest tires. That's 25 of Moffitt. Started last, and here he is. You talked about points and how valuable they are to the 98. Well, this 25 on fresher tires by about 10 or 12 laps could steal some points away from the 98.
And we saw the 16 up into the wall there just moments ago as Chandler Smith trying to keep it off the wall. Under 4 laps to go now.
Yeah, this is a big battle right here. Steve mentioned the tires on the 25 car. Riley Herbst had caught Kyle Busch and tried to make a pass on him and almost wrecked off of turn 2, and that stacked up these guys behind him, allowed Kyle to get away from him.
Will Moffitt be able to take advantage of those fresher tires and get by these two before the green and white checkered flies at the end of stage 1?
Got a car in the fence into turn 1, the 92. It's down on the racetrack, down on the apron now, out of the way. There it is. Right front tire got flat. We saw contact Williams had with the wall in 3 and 4. Drove down the front straightaway into 1, pounded the fence with the car. Caution's out early here.
Probably some debris on the racetrack, so the caution comes out. It looks like that is going to end stage 1, as there are just 3 laps to go in the stage.
Yeah, that was it was only 1 point. Chandler Smith had just got by Riley Herbst, so Riley Herbst was struggling big time. He had Moffitt all over his rear bumper. That caution came out, and it saved Riley Herbst, and he'll earn a point.
So again, Josh Williams and that 92 tire going down for him. So the 30-year-old out of Port Charlotte, Florida, will bring it to the attention of the crew. They're going to take care of that right front. And again, the end of the stage is going to happen here while everybody gets in line. Pit road was closed with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, sorry, Rick. I was just going to say you see the damage, and the whole fender's missing for the 92 of Williams. Damage to the
all right here.
brake
Take
cooling.
the solids all over there and get it unwrapped. Yeah, 3 up on the 2 in the right rear.
So the threads from the tire wrapping around.
Yeah, what happens, when these tires unwrap like that, you think about a ball of twine that is impossible to tear, right? It's this Kevlar twine that wraps around everything, and even cutting it becomes very difficult because it moves with the saw blade, right? It's not like a piece of pipe in a vise where it's easy to cut. While the saw is definitely sharp enough, you're trying to cut some stuff that's not trying to stay still. And now this is actually a little bit of a break for all these drivers. Now you can ride around for a couple laps, catch your breath, have a good conversation with your crew chief. Remember, practice today was only 20 minutes, 1 set of tires. You were the first cars on the racetrack. The track was green. There was nothing about practice that probably led you in a direction for what you felt so far in this race. So now, normally you would see, end of the stage, 1 lap, okay, pit. They're going to get an extra 5 or 6 minutes here to take this cold drink of water, take a breath, have a more articulated conversation, like, hey, some follow-up questions, maybe have a real good conversation and make these good adjustments. As we see the circle on board right here, the 45 of Carruth. In front of him, the 24 had an issue. We saw that 9 get into him earlier in the middle of 1 and 2. Ended up cutting a tire on the 24, so Heim had to pit on the green. He's actually a lap down currently.
31 on the lead lap. Perkins scored 32nd. The first car a lap down, and this will be John Hunter Nemechek grabbing his 6th stage win this year, 2nd most. His 2nd stage win at Darlington. So Nemechek wins stage 1, but there were a lot of cars that were a handful in that first stage. 18 around for Sammy Smith, and Hemrick a couple times trying to catch it.
to check your stage 1 winner here at Darlington Raceway as we work under the caution flag for the second time. The first stage ending under caution for an issue that Josh Williams had on the racetrack. Williams is now bringing his Chevrolet back onto pit road as we speak. Pretty good run so far for drivers like Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. One driver in particular that is struggling so far. He was giving up a lot of spots toward the end of stage number 1. That's Josh Berry. Berry started to slip back and cough up a bunch of positions on the racetrack. Josh is now back in the 15th spot in his Junior Motorsports number 8. So he is one of these drivers that was hoping to see a caution flag so they can put fresh tires on that car and make some adjustments on his Chevrolet.
Yeah, Tim, he was starting to fall back into the field, and everybody just seemed like they were passing him that way. And I know he was probably quick. Needed those tires real bad.
And those drivers that just need to sell a run today to qualify for playoffs on point.
NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the credit card company, and by Sport Clips. It's a game changer. Front stretch grandstands are full, and they're about to have a show of the pit crews here. Kim?
John Hunter Nemechek, your stage 1 winner. Top left, he went from a little free to really free, especially the exit of 4 air pressure adjustment on those 4 fresh Goodyear tires, as well as a chassis adjustment. You see Justin Allgaier top right. He said, I am on top of the racetrack. I slide the fronts and shear the rears. He asked Jim Pullman, the crew chief, to go back on the adjustment they made for qualifying, Dave.
Cole Custer said his car was unbearable tight after 20 laps. They promised that the adjustments, both air and chassis, will make him a net freer, Marty.
Austin Hill said, we're so strong on the entry of 3 and 4, but I have to baby it through the middle and on exit because it will just snap loose on me. Terrific shot there of the 21 car who came in 6th, and he will leave with the lead on pit road. What an incredible stop for the 21 bunch, Rick. Gained 5 spots.
Yeah, Marty, big gains there on pit road for Austin Hill. High fives all around. Nemechek and Hamlin, they both drop a spot. They'll come out 2nd and 3rd after those pit stops.
Here at the end of stage number 1, under caution flag for the second time. Monica Palumbo, let's go down to you.
We are out here in the campgrounds. Look at these race fans. That's a cool little spot to watch the race on top of your camper. I love it out here. It's a family affair. So I met this family over here. 4 generations. We got great-grandpa, grandpa, dad. We got Aiden, Aiden's buddy. What's your name? After that's such a cool name. Now, what do you guys think about this race? And sitting here, it's a cool place to watch the race, huh? It's very good. I gotta ask you a question too. How late were you able to stay up last night, right? You're camping out, making these family memories. Did you stay up way past your bedtime? Yes. Was it so much fun? Yes. See, look at that. I love that. We're here at Darlington Raceway. And I want to know too, you're from Louisiana. You guys are from Wilmington, North Carolina. What made you bring your dad? You flew him in from Louisiana. Why'd you fly him in here to Darlington? So you chose the race here in Darlington. Why did you choose Darlington? What makes it so special?
We've been coming to Darlington for the last 3 years, and I've been bringing my son and my grandson. We like it here.
That's right. You wanted the whole family experience. That's what it's all about. I got a little something for these guys right here. Thanks to NASCAR Adventure Force. You guys get to play with a little NASCAR hauler. Look at that. You guys can share it, okay? Look, there's some cars in here too, some race cars. This is awesome. It's a NASCAR hauler car transporter. If you guys want this at home, go to Walmart.com or go on in to Walmart. Have fun, guys. Enjoy the race.
All right, thank you, Monica. If you want to learn more again about that NASCAR Adventure Force car hauler.
Holy cow! Unbelievable! Marshall Jr., you are the champion, baby! Oh my God, guys! 2 times, baby! Yeah! Yeah!
The playoff road to the championship starts tomorrow. And tomorrow during stage 2, an Earnhardt, a Jarrett, and a Petty, all names synonymous with NASCAR and Darlington. They will be a part of stage 2. We want to go to the Peacock pit box, bring in Kyle Petty and Dale Jarrett. Is this an appetizer to what we're going to see tomorrow when we have a Denny Hamlin, a Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, and a Ross Chastain in this one?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. And I watched Denny be very patient with his tires after that restart, and then really was trying to run John Hunter down there. I think we'll see a lot more of that tomorrow night also.
Yeah, we've seen the Cup drivers be a lot more patient in this. You know what? I am impatient for tomorrow, because when we get to do this with Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt Jr., I get to come inside. Dale and I get air conditioning tomorrow night.
That's right. How about that?
That's our big plus. Thank you, Junior.
Wait a minute, you're getting credit for them getting air conditioning?
Hey, yes, I'll take it. Anytime you can get credit.
Once again, we see John Hunter Nemechek with his Toyota onboard up front. The 21 of Austin Hill there on the outside. So it'll be Austin Hill and Nemechek making up row 1. Hamlin and Cole Custer 3rd and 4th. And Kyle Larson already in the top 5. Stage 2 underway.
Austin Hill got a terrible start right there. He was controlling the race and enters turn 1 in 3rd place.
Great restart for Cole Custer, who jumps up to 2nd. Denny Hamlin early, looking to get 3rd away now. But Austin Hill still holding on to it, running that lower line on those pressure tires.
Austin Hill always just shows up, no matter what the racetrack we're at. He's gonna be there at the end of these races, and his crew does a good job of getting him on and off pit road and gaining spots and putting him in these positions, and he will fight hard. Look at this battle right here, 3 wide. Josh Berry on the outside. Brandon Jones going to give up both of those spots right there. Doesn't want to go down into turn 1, 3 wide.
Parker Retzlaff in the 31 there, still challenging Berry for the spot, as we see Sheldon Creed in the 2 also coming into the picture.
On board with the 27 of Burton Celsius onboard camera, looking back at the 91 of Ross Chastain.
5-3, Poland.
And here you go. Austin Hill getting that great track position from his pit crew. Maybe not the great restart that he was hoping for, but now he takes over 2nd spot from Custer in this 21.
We'll see if Kyle Larson.
And Custer had a little bit of a tough problem through the corner right there, and now Larson's right on his back bumper, Rick.
Yeah, can he take advantage of that pass that we just saw out of Austin Hill and what it did to Cole Custer?
On the big stack up right here with the 78 of Alfredo.
He's got some damage to the right front. I think he's hit the wall with the right rear and the right front.
Caution's coming out.
We saw when we came on the picture, the 1 of Sam Mayer working his way through. That moves him up to 25th. The 1 pitted a couple times under the last yellow to fix radios. Started last, drove all the way up to 14th. Now had to go back to basically the back of the field. So we'll keep an update on Sam Mayer. Let's take a look what happened to the 78. This is heavy racing right here. 2 wide. Oh, he comes up the racetrack and makes contact with the left front of the 1. Now the 1 is there. I'm not sure if Alfredo didn't know if he was there, or maybe he just needed all the racetrack, right? This is a slick track, and then also some contact here between the 45 and the 26 of Kaz Gralla.
Yeah, that was pretty harmless right there. But that set up what happened down in the next corner with the 78. You see him coming into the picture there.
We saw the 18 of Sammy Smith early in the race. He spun, had to pit. He was the free pass that time, so he is back in the lead lap.
Rick, like I was saying, I'm not sure if he just didn't know. You will see the 78 of Alfredo. Needs all this real estate on exit. Unfortunately, the 1 of Sam Mayer was there. Some contact. We'll have to see how much damage to both cars.
special book. Now, the first 50 kids in attendance will receive a copy of the book to follow along. We'll see you there. Again, this is taking place tomorrow.
Next Saturday on NBC and Peacock, the NASCAR Xfinity Series regular season will come to a close. It's a cut race at Kansas Speedway, the last chance to clinch a spot in the playoffs. That coverage beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern. As they go to work on Sam Mayer's car, you're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series sports clip. VFW help a hero 200. Kim.
You see that left front fender on Sam Mayer's machine broken. They're checking to make sure the tire's not cut. There also was a little bit of right front damage, but their attention going to the left front. That's where the worst damage was. Sam also, you guys documented having radio issues. He came down pit road a second time after stops. That's what put him into position to get part of that wreck. They don't think they've alleviated those radio issues. In fact, Sam, they don't believe, could hear them, so they had the entire pit crew on the pit wall jumping up and down to get Sam's attention to come down pit lane. Sam can also not talk on the radio, so they've got a lot of issues down here in the one pit. Marty?
Kim, stage one, very clean, minus a slight brush for the wall for Kyle Larson. Stage two, a bit of a different story. Listen in.
The engine stumbling off of 2 like fuel. Yeah, so far every lap off of 2.
So there you go, Steve. The engine stumbling for Kyle Larson, and he said it was every lap so far here in stage two. But if you're Greg Ives, is there really anything you can do at this point, Steve?
Write it down in the notebook. Look at it when the race is over. I mean, you're not going to give up track position to mess with it. Remember, these are not fuel injected like the Cup car. These have the old school carburetor on it, and if it does it every single lap, or excuse me, every single lap off turn 2, you would imagine it's some sort of setting in the carburetor, either float heights or something that's just making it stumble. There's the boss, Mr. Hendrick, on top of the pit box. He might write it down in his notebook as well and ask why we have this issue.
Well, Mr. Hendrick, special paint scheme, Ricky Hendrick, who had passed away when numerous people for Hendrick Motorsports were involved in the plane crash. And so this paint scheme comes out a few times during the year, and Kyle Larson behind the wheel today.
And everyone feels that, right? When you talk to Kyle or Greg Ives or the crew members, they know how special this scheme is. So, you may look at the entry blank and it'll say HendrickCars.com entry for Hendrick Motorsports, Kyle Larson driving, right? Xfinity Series race. But it's way more than that for the organization. So everyone understands that when Mr. Hendrick agrees to put that scheme on the racetrack, he wants a full Hendrick Motorsports effort. It's more than just laps for Larson. That might be the end goal, but he'd love to see it in victory lane.
2x2 once again as Nemechek and Austin Hill are up front. Hill will be on the outside, Nemechek on the inside for this restart. Back up through the gears they go. And again, John Hunter Nemechek with a great restart. Austin Hill spinning the tires there a little bit with the 17 right on his back bumper. We'll see if Cole Custer, he stays off of the 17, and it looks as though Larson is going to take that third spot.
That outside line is just a place to be on these restarts. 3 wide down the back straightaway. Kyle Busch right there in the middle. Parker Kligerman on the bottom in the orange 48. Chandler Smith on the top. Battle for second right here. Larson can't get it done on the inside.
Three behind him, just a 9.
See the damage to the back bumper of the 9 car. He's had a little contact with the wall on the right side to push that bumper over. Harrison Burton, or Jeb Burton right here on the inside.
Celsius lift fit cam. Jeb's trying to carry enough speed to the center of 3 and 4 to try to clear that 8 car. Doesn't quite do it. And now he's having to fight to maintain position.
Got a little gap there in between the 9, and that gap closes. So Jeb Burton stuck on the inside now as the 8 of Josh Berry holds the spot he wants.
Yeah, Jeb knows he needs to make a big move right here. He's going to drive way down in the corner, try to clear Josh Berry. If not, that 9 car is going to be right on him. You can see how slow Jeb had to get by driving in so deep, but now you got to turn right and get up in front of that 8 car.
He did it. Side by side here as we see the 19 of Denny Hamlin trying to get by Cole Custer.
Here's the risk when you get put in that bottom lane. The 7 of Allgaier is going to try to fill this outside lane on corner exit and push the 00 by. Now Denny is committed to the bottom, has nowhere to go. 00 of Cole Custer fighting the 19 for 4th, Dave.
And Steve, you can see he's lost touch with the leaders, Nemechek and Hill and Larson. That's partly because they didn't make a dent with those adjustments in the handling condition. He said, what do we do? And they told him what they did. He said it was tight before, it's tight again now, so we need to work a little harder. Maybe it is the track that is changing and not helping our 00 adjustments.
Well, when you talk about the track, you could see it right there off turn 2. You see it a little bit in 3 and 4. It's definitely more prominent in turn 1 and 2. How dark the track is going to get, right? So here they are in the middle of 3 and 4. You see the shadows off the wall, but when you get to the other end and the exit of 2, the line that the cars run has really changed color. It tells me that that Goodyear tire rubber is really kind of smearing into that asphalt, taking the grip away, and I think moving it to the tight. There you see it right there. And there's just not a lot of options. Denny Hamlin runs a little different line there, but the exit of 2, it's kind of single thread, right? You kind of have one way through it. Now this end of the racetrack, turn 3 and 4, 2 completely different lines. You can run all the way up against the wall, the middle, heck, even the bottom, really 3 lanes maybe.
Allgaier clearing that 00 of Custer, so Allgaier up to 4th now. There's Hemrick in the 11, chasing after Parker Retzlaff.
Parker having a really good day right here, running in 10th place. Kyle Busch behind you. Hemrick, an Xfinity champion behind you. Good job so far.
Yeah, that whole team's doing a good job. Jeb's in the picture right there as his teammate. Here's 2 teammates battling down into the corner. Hemrick's going to give the spot up to Kyle Busch into turn 1.
Spent some time with Jordan Anderson about both Jeb and that 31. And him being in the race last week, he had all 3 cars in. And he's just kind of explaining the business model, right? Trying to get Jeb back in the car for next year, trying to get the 31 driver to return. Proud of what they've done, continuing to build. It's really impressive what Jordan Anderson Racing has done every single year. Dale, you know how hard it is to build the business of racing, and here this young man, right, started running some trucks, and now he's in the Xfinity Series and continues to build the program.
Yeah, and the hardest part is finding the performance and balancing the budget with performance on the racetrack. You've got X amount of dollars to spend, how to spend it to go fast, right? Your team's going to come to you. Your team managers are going to say, hey, here's 5 things we need to go quicker. Well, you got to choose 2. Choosing the right 2 to move forward and get that program going forward is key, and they're doing that.
Jordan has experience behind the wheel and in the managerial area as far as ownership goes as well. Dave, how about the 10 and 11?
As they run together, teammates for Colleague Racing. Kyle Busch in the 10 says, I really haven't got the feel I like yet today. The front is tight, the rear is loose, but he is making progress forward. After all, he's Kyle Busch. And Daniel Hemrick on that last restart, trying to take care of those tires at the beginning. He was reminded of that by his team. Daniel told me this morning, he said one of the things that we had a real problem with, as you see he gets back by Kyle, was the tires falling off quicker, I think, than my competitors. So he tried to take care of them at the beginning of this run. Hopefully it'll pay off at the end, Marty.
Dave, we heard the frustration from Josh Berry a little while ago on the radio. Is the 8 car any better? Listen.
Oh, no, I'm pretty speechless. I mean, it's okay for like 3 laps, and then it's just, I mean, I can't drive it. I'm hanging on. It's just breaking loose. Stuck on the restarts, but hopefully it will not fall on its face as bad after 10 laps.
I'm pretty speechless, and that's his concern, the longer run, and that's really where the 8 car fell off. Josh Berry earlier saying, worst car I've ever driven in my life. Some frustrations at Darlington today for a man who once finished second here at this racetrack.
Yeah, Marty, so difficult to hear the disgust really in his voice, and we haven't even got to the halfway point of this race. There's still time to work on that car. The official app of NASCAR Tracks has the latest race and event information from all of your favorite tracks. Search NASCAR Tracks in the App Store to download for free. Out front, John Hunter Nemechek with a half a second lead over Austin Hill right now. The closest Cup driver is Larson, and he is 2 seconds back. For more on Nemechek, let's go to Kim.
Yeah, let's get a Toyota driver update. I checked in with John Hunter and his crew chief Ben Bayshore this afternoon, and they told me they were really looking forward to this week because it's been a tough few weeks. They haven't had the performances they wanted and they know they're capable of. So they had to right the ship, and they felt like this track and Kansas next week are two of John Hunter's strengths. So they're treating these races, they told me, like playoff races to get their minds right. That means leading laps. He's currently led 74 laps. That means no mistakes on pit road, and that means good decision making throughout the course of the race. Right now, John Hunter P1 and looking like he is in playoff form.
Playoff form with another race after this one before the regular season comes to an end.
And John Hunter in this 20 car, along with his crew chief Ben Bayshore that Kim just talked about, they've been a great combination. You know, Ben was an Xfinity crew chief. He was an engineer for Kyle Busch, then went back to the Xfinity Series and went back up as a Cup crew chief, and now back in the Xfinity Series. So he and John Hunter both are trying to show the world that they belong in the Cup Series as a crew chief, as a driver, and they can get it done. And they've done a really nice job.
I think the 24 of Corey Heim may have just forced the 9 up into the wall. Let's take another look.
And remember, they had contact earlier when the 9 got loose on corner entry. And here's the 24, really just running into the back of the 9 on corner exit off turn 2. I know that the driver of the 24 is probably frustrated, but I can assure him that if we go back earlier and see how the 9 got loose, he didn't mean to make contact with the 20. He was wrecking himself. Yeah. The 24 was just kind of in the way.
He's done a nice job, Heim, of driving back up through the field. He's running in 15th place.
Here we see Denny Hamlin making the pass on Allgaier.
This is where I think that experience, even as experienced as Allgaier is, when you talk about Cup drivers that have so many laps here, you know, as the tires wear and nothing feels good, they just kind of, you know what rocks to kind of overturn, where to put their car in what positions to find just that little bit of grip that's left in those tires, if there is any. Just find a way to make a little bit more speed.
And Junior, you talked about the line. Denny Hamlin has maybe a little bit different line that he uses when the tires start to wear out.
Yeah, let's see if he's running that line now. He's not running it at this point of the race, but he's one of the first ones that I saw run that higher entry and exit of turn 2. And he didn't really want to talk about it because he didn't want nobody else to find out about the gains that it could provide. And Larson now runs that line a little bit. We've seen that earlier today.
You'd be amazed how many crew chiefs or drivers will tell us, hey man, that was a really good point. Please don't point it out anymore. Just let's not talk about that. Whether it's the way a car looks on the racetrack or anything else, they try to keep the advantage.
This battle for the lead is heated up, guys, and the 21 car of Austin Hill has changed what he's doing. Watch what he does when he goes into turn 3. All the way to the bottom of the racetrack, drives deep into the corner, but then just stays on the bottom. And you would think on corner exit that would hurt him, but it's not. He's gaining more on corner entry than he's losing on corner exit. Does the same thing in 1 and 2. Watch how low he runs. Just completely has changed. He's doing the exact opposite of John Hunter.
Seem to have drifted up the racetrack there in the center of 1 and 2.
3.5. Good 1, 2. He shallows entry, but then you roll away center and finish exit better. 4.
See, now Austin Hill said, nope, I'm going to show you something different. So the spotter just gave Nemechek information. He shallowed up his entry. And then Austin did something different, but it didn't work for Austin. So now Austin's going to have to say, all right, I tried something different. It didn't work. I'm going to go back to what I was using to make gains. Marty.
And I love what Andy Street, the crew chief for Austin Hill, told him a little while ago with about 10 laps left in the stage, or 15 laps left in the stage. He said, 15 to go in the stage. If you have anything in the tank, now's the time to find it. And Austin Hill then turned it on. And it's hard to believe, but RCR has never won an Xfinity race here at Darlington. They have 8 Cup wins here at Darlington. Over all the years, they've never won an Xfinity race. Austin Hill trying to change that today.
As he's pushing harder to try to get to the lead. See a car creeping into the conversation here, and that's the 17 of Larson's just behind Hill. That's going to be the battle, I think, that we're going to see next is the 21 of Hill and Larson for second.
And surprisingly, we're hearing that Kyle Larson still thinks there's an issue with that motor, but he's not losing ground to these guys.
But there's one place to have a little bit of an issue in power. It would be on this racetrack with older tires. Doesn't seem to be affecting the car too much. It's able to make the speed down the straightaway.
Here we see Parker Retzlaff in the 31 in front of Riley Herbst.
Can't say enough about this 31 entry. I mean, that's up into the 8th position, and let's remind, you know, in front of him is Larson and Hamlin, so 2 Cup guys we don't normally see. That's almost like a 6th of the, you know, current Xfinity guys. Just a great run. The bottom you see Hemrick battling against the 48 of Parker Kligerman in that orange and white car. It really matters for Parker because he sits currently 10th. So if Hemrick gets by him in these next 3 laps, then Parker won't score any stage points.
Well, I noticed Riley Herbst that this 48 car is trying to track down in the first run. He got really slow at the end of the run, and I'm sure that Parker Kligerman saw that.
Loose there for the 48, up into the wall he goes. Parker Kligerman had to catch the car, but it bounced off the wall. Now he tries to pass the 11 back.
Back to the inside, down the front straightaway.
Under 2 laps to go in stage 2.
Backs off on entry and allows Hemrick to take the position.
It's that final stage point, and those two so close on points, as we see now, only separated by 15.
Yeah, you don't think 1 point matters. Well, I can show you many times. Here you go. Here's the contact. Many times 1 point has kept a team from making the playoffs or moving on to their next round. Really loose into the corner. You can see Parker's car just shaking all over that 48. Just didn't have enough racetrack to save it.
John Hunter Nemechek trying to put the 53 of Matt Mills a lap down, as Matt Mills running 32nd. But out of turn 4, John Hunter Nemechek is going to sweep the stages here at Darlington. He's done it one other time, and that time he went to victory lane. So we'll see if he can rinse and repeat as we see Hemrick staying in front of the 48 of Parker Kligerman, and that means that Kligerman does not get a stage point there at the end of stage 2. John Hunter Nemechek, 87 laps led already here at Darlington.
There's a young lady over here. She was taking a little snoozer. Sometimes during the race, right? It's like a sound machine. You can take a little snoozer, having a good time, grilling out. We got some dogs out here. But my man, your hair is looking sharp, dude. How long did it take you to grow your hair out? I don't know. It took a while. Yeah, leave it on looking good. Oh, he's got a chain. You got a girlfriend here? You looking for a girl? How old are you? 12 years old. Look at him at Darlington.
Tomorrow at 3 Eastern on NBC and Peacock, IndyCar Series racing from Portland International Raceway. It's their penultimate race of the season. Alex Palou, he is still on the brink of a championship. He has a 74-point lead. And how about Graham Rahal grabbing the pole? Again, that's tomorrow at 3 o'clock, NBC and Peacock. So the 17 engine issues, they are taking a look at that right now under the hood.
Yeah, I think they're actually going to try to change the carburetor. You could kind of do this in steps to try not to lose a lap. You know, come the first time, remove the air cleaner, come back, take the carburetor off, put the new one on. We'll see how successful they are. Kim.
Stage 2 winner John Hunter Nemechek reported to his team. It fired off tight, then got just a little bit free. You see him top left. It's going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. Justin Allgaier top right. He said, I was way too tight during that run. Could not get up against the wall like I wanted to. You see the adjustment there. It is going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires in addition to that adjustment. Dave.
After a disastrous Daytona, Riley Herbst trying to come back, comes in 8th on this pit stop. They will make an adjustment for a car that is tight going into the corner and snappy loose, Marty.
+5 on the last stop for Austin Hill's group in the 21 team. Let's see what they can do on this stop. Austin said the last adjustment helped, but I still have to be very careful with the throttle. Here comes the 20 car down pit road, drag race off pit road, but Austin Hill and the 21 team do it again. They gain 1 spot this time and put him back out in the lead, Rick.
Yep, it'll be Hill and Nemechek once again making up that front row. We'll see if Austin Hill can have a better restart than he's had the past 2. And that's the restart of stage 3 coming up.
Start the final stage shortly here in Darlington. Work continuing on Kyle Larson's Chevrolet. I mentioned he was back on pit road. The hood once again was up on his Camaro. Trying to diagnose exactly what the issue is. Now they're going to go ahead and change tires on Kyle Larson's Chevrolet. Kyle, the driver that won this race earlier this year in May.
It's NASCAR Xfinity Series racing from Darlington, the Sport Clips VFW 200. So off of pit road, it was Austin Hill who got the top spot, but there was issues on pit road that are affecting the guys trying to make the playoffs.
Well, it starts with the 7 of Allgaier. He's in the playoffs, but the right side goes pretty good. The left side, the Jackman goes over. It looks like he misses the stall, or the Jack Staub might miss it twice. Finally gets it where it needs to be. He was running 5th, comes off pit road. He's about 12th now. You see a pat on the back. And then the 48, you were mentioning this, Rick, the car's trying to make the playoffs. Just a very slow right side for the 48. He was running 11th. Now he sits 20th on the racetrack. You just see there's some issues on the right rear while they're making an adjustment. Dave.
Steve, Patrick Donahue and the crew spent extra time on pit road. What did you find?
We had a loose left rear. We thought it was the right rear, but it's the left rear. We put some packer in the front because we were worried about the back, but we got plenty of time. We'll get back up there. We'll be.
I remember that wall contact, Steve. That's what got that started.
So listen, if that comment by the crew chief, you're trying to digest it, welcome to Darlington. We had a loose wheel. We thought it was the right. It was the left. We put some packer in the front. That's to raise the car. I mean, we up here, me specifically, I make it sound simple because from the booth, it's pretty calm up here. We don't have all that chaos. That was a great reminder for me that what all these crew chiefs are dealing with. You have a driver who is absolutely mad. You have a car that doesn't drive as good as you want. You have engineers making suggestions. There's just a lot of input coming your way, and you're trying to factor that. And now the 48, you know, he sits 19th, and if you look at the points, right, he's only 4 points to the good. So Kligerman holds a 4-point gap over the 98.
51 laps to go. The final stage about to get underway. Austin Hill and Nemechek. It's been a dominant race up to this point by Nemechek. We'll see if Hill has anything for him on this restart. A lot better this time. But still, Austin Hill can't stay in that second spot. He's got Denny Hamlin fighting him on the outside. A push from Custer there into turn 3.
Denny's going to be tough on this outside in this 19 car. Here comes Custer now through. This is going to lose a couple spots. Hill's going to fall in 4th. Right there in front of Herbst.
And you see on the left-hand side a penalty for Brandon Jones, currently 31st. He was running 15th, too many men over the wall. So in the end, you know, looking at a must-win situation, was having an okay day. This is going to make the final stage pretty difficult.
Parker Kligerman, after his issues, he's running in the 17th spot. Riley Herbst in the 5th position as they run. See the stage points earned today. John Hunter Nemechek grabbing as many as you can, finishing first in both stages. Riley Herbst got 3, very important as he's fighting for that final 12th playoff spot.
This is a tough spot right here for the driver, Steve, because you want to push as hard as you can. 49 laps to go. This thing could go green the whole way, and you got to be a little bit careful to save a little bit of tire, so if it does go that whole time. But if you save too much, they drive away from you. So this is where a driver has to believe in himself and have real discipline.
He has to have real discipline, and I think this is where a driver could use a little help from on top of the pit box, as we see Sam Mayer working to the outside of the 48 of Parker Kligerman, and just, you know, help you with your perspective, Jeff, is what I mean, right? You only know what you see out the window, out the rear glass. I can maybe paint a picture of where we are versus the rest of the field. Oh, man, that was close.
Contact there.
Sam Mayer, the 48 car of Kligerman, kind of did a little bit of a slide job, and Sam Mayer was going to try to drive back underneath him, but didn't know that the guy was underneath him and just turned left on Sammy Smith.
Now Mayer in the 1, trying to get by Ryan Sieg in the 39. We see the battle for the lead getting a little bit tighter up there between Nemechek and Hamlin.
Hamlin's kind of been hovering around 4th, 3rd, 4th, 5th place all day long. Now getting a little bit closer to the front here, finding some adjustments that are helping this race car be able to compete, be able to close the gap to Nemechek and the cleaner air. I mean, I know that's just a couple positions better, but it makes a bit of a difference. Every position forward helps this car drive a lot better in a place like this where the grip is a premium.
Dale, I talked to Denny this week about this race specifically, and he said, oh, as we have a wreck on the front stretch, the 28 and the 51 have gone around.
Yeah, Clements and Kyle Sieg. And neither car looked like it have heavy damage. There's some flat tires here on both cars, probably the 51 for sure. Battling for about 21st position in the field. They're going to escape with minor damage. I'd call that a win at Darlington. Yeah, they just come up off the corner, you know, just kind of the traditional contact that you have off the corner, and I think Clements was kind of swept up into that as an innocent participant because Kyle Sieg gets into the inside of the car in front of him or beside him. Right here's a good shot of it. All 3 cars in front of you.
I think that was Moffitt that was on the outside that they were making contact with.
Yeah, he bounced off the 25, it looks like. Kyle Sieg did, and then that caught Jeremy Clements just by the front of the car and spun him out as well. So the caution has come out for the 5th time today. That means another restart in front of us. Nemechek and Hamlin running up front.
Will arrive in his pit stall, and will go to work on his Ford Mustang. Puts us on the caution flag again. Brett Moffitt is on pit road, the right side third. Austin Hill and Riley Herbst right now the top 5. Interesting for Riley Herbst. Remember, he is one of those drivers on the playoff bubble right now trying to point his way in. If he cannot win a race before the end of the regular season, he wants to get as many points as he can to make the playoffs. Right now in the 5th spot, doing everything he can. Doing a pretty darn good job as well. Running up near the front, Kyle Larson, we've documented the issues that he feels is going on inside of his Camaro, where the engine compartment is located. The team continues to try to diagnose and figure out what is wrong. Kyle has been on off pit road several times now, and they have been able to remain on the lead lap. They have not lost a lap. But a day that has been a little rough over the last 15 or 20 laps for Kyle Larson after finishing inside of the top 5 at the end of the 2nd stage. We're on pit road again, changing out a couple of things on that machine. Figure out exactly what's going on with that car. Here comes a bunch of cars on the pit road. Some drivers, though, elected to stay out, but the majority coming down for tires. Let's go to the Motor Racing Network.
They knew that if they came down, the rest of the field most likely would come down. It'll be 4 tires and Sunoco fuel for John Hunter Nemechek. Denny Hamlin, who is going after the Joe Gibbs Racing 20 in front of him, is also going to fill up his Sunoco fuel tank. 4 tires and they're off. Steve Post.
Sheldon Creed is bringing his car down, and he just does not get all that much speed.
Thank you.
And we are back at Darlington. Stops completed for both Denny Hamlin and John Hunter Nemechek. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, slight adjustments for cars that are both tight. Dave.
There's a 98 of Riley Herbst. He came for fresh tires as well. Why not? As we get 42 laps to go.
Just 6 laps on those tires, Dave, but everybody coming down pit road. Austin Hill's team again. That #1 pit stall paying off. They gained 3 spots. And by the way, Rick, Austin Hill said on the radio, I don't know what I'm doing wrong on these restarts, but clearly something's going on. I am spinning the tires every time.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is having a hard time getting the rear tires hooked up. And what you see right here, this is a little different for Xfinity Series racing, where we mentioned at the top of the show, 4 sets of tires, short race, final stage, only 57 laps. So when Marty says only 6 laps on the tires, in the Cup race, for sure you're going to come. You got a lot of tires. But Xfinity, you normally don't have any extra. They still had 2 sets of tires. So even with this pit stop, they still have a set of stickers left with 42 to go. I understand we don't have this every week. There's a lot of different reasons that goes into that rule, but I do love that there's a few races a year that force these crew chiefs to kind of, this is outside their box to have to make these decisions. Marty, the 17, the hood up once again.
Trying once again, Kyle Larson went back out there. They made 3 stops before in the stage 2 caution. They could not get it fixed, and now there goes the field. They told Kyle Larson a moment ago, fire it up. It would not fire up. They decided to come back down because it was still stumbling on the racetrack, but now Kyle Larson going down a lap here at Darlington with one of the better race cars after having that engine issue, the carburetor stumbling, especially off turn 2. That's been the biggest issue, and they cannot get it solved here on the 17.
KP, DJ, you guys on the Peacock pit box, only 40 laps to go. Is it going to be a calm 40 laps or a chaotic 40 laps?
Why should the last 40 laps be any calmer than the first part of the race? I mean, these guys are all up on the wheel, sideways, backwards, and in the words of the great Ray Melton, high, wide, and handsome in the championship groove, trying to make something happen. I don't see that changing, and the finishes that we've had the last couple of races down here prove that also.
Yeah, and one of the best ever at this racetrack, Denny Hamlin, is getting ready to put a lot of pressure on everybody, because I foresee him taking the lead here and then everybody else trying to overdrive their cars to see if they can get by Denny.
And we'll see if the cars that decided to stay out, which are the top 9 right now, with Retzlaff, Corey Heim, Allgaier.
So we're going to take a slippery, narrow racetrack, and we are going to make it pure chaos at the front, because now the cars that not only have had the fastest cars all day, now they have fresh tires. In 6 laps, that's basically a second of tire fall off. Now we're going to put them behind some of these drivers. Corey Heim has had an up and down day, and they got the free wave around earlier and a set of tires put on. I've actually been pretty impressed with both the speed of the 24 and the 31. Now the real question is, can you kind of get out there and get clear? Because we know the 21 of Hill, the 19 of Hamlin, they are for sure coming. It's just a question of how long and how clean. You see right here, you mentioned it, right? 8, 9 cars stayed out. So Hill, Hamlin, Nemechek, the first 3 on tires.
Corey Heim's going to be on the outside in the 24, and Parker Retzlaff will be on the inside in that 31.
Yeah, pretty interesting. Like, what lane do you pick? And that's what's very difficult. And I just watched. So a lot of them decided, hey, we think the bottom is going to roll better here. So a lot of guys gave up some rows to pick the bottom with the choose. After that, Riley Herbst in that black car pull up 4 or 5 rows to get where he is. But most of the guys on the inside are thinking the outside is going to be really slow here.
Well, a lot of those cars on older tires lined up in that outside line, so it actually was an advantage to the 21, the 19. They moved forward about 3 positions with some cars on used tires. Herbst is in the worst spot. He's right behind all 3 cars with used tires. Everybody in that line on the outside is going to be slow on this restart for Herbst.
We'll see how quickly the tires make a difference as they're back to green. 39 laps remaining. Allgaier pushing Parker Retzlaff up front. Corey Heim trying to fight back. Stays in that 3rd spot. Austin Hill quickly moving up. Hill making those tires work as now he's fighting for the 2nd spot.
These new tires should be pretty easy for the 21, but he's got his hands full. Denny Hamlin right into the back bumper there, down the back straightaway, but he dives into the corner. He's going to overdrive the corner intentionally to try to slide up in front of Allgaier and clear him easily.
Here comes that 19, Hamlin. He moves up to 3rd.
There was a lot of questionable things going on that restart, but we're hearing from NASCAR that it was clear and good.
I'm guessing Riley Herbst, that 98 crew, they're saying, okay, good.
Yeah, they're pretty happy
We're going to keep
that.
going.
Yeah, he kind of got 3 wide, but I don't know who it was in front of him was running a kind of an odd lane, so I could see both sides of the argument. It definitely looked odd.
Yeah.
He grabbed the middle, and that's, I think, what saved him.
Austin Hill up front is able to get by that 31 of Parker Retzlaff, but the 19 right there with Denny Hamlin.
Well, we keep talking about the 98 and wondering if he broke the law or not. Well, the rule is you have to stay in line until you get to the start-finish line. So he is actually in his line. The guys in front of him have established the lane. Now, right there was the part that concerned me. He did turn left before the start-finish line, but initially he was in that lane, and they all established that one car was in front of him higher than everyone else. But that's a ball to strike call right there in the 98. In my opinion, caught a break.
Yeah, I think he caught a big break there. It looked pretty bad. Passed it to the inside before the start-finish line.
Custer going by Allgaier. And again, Allgaier stayed out. So the fresher tires are definitely paying off now.
So, Steve, what are these guys that didn't pit? What do they need to have happen here to make this strategy work out?
Well, what they're hoping for now is to run about 5 or 6 more laps and then to catch a yellow so they can come down and put tires on. I think the leaders might come again, but they're going to cycle to the front. I mean, like Retzlaff currently in 3rd is better track position than he had. So, if we run another 5 or 6 laps and the caution comes out, they're going to come put tires on as well.
There's Parker Kligerman getting a shove from the 26 of Kaz Gralla. And again, the fight for those final points, the final playoff spot between Kligerman and Herbst. Herbst running in the 9th position right now. Parker Kligerman in 18th.
You see the 19 of Hamlin. If you watch what he does in 1 and 2, he runs lower than Austin Hill, but he does that on a normal basis. Sometimes, Junior, he runs that high line, but a lot of times he runs lower. He and Kevin Harvick both sometimes run lower than everybody else through there. And that helps him in practice get the car set up so that he can try to make these passes. At that time, Austin Hill went to the bottom. 19, Hamlin saw that, and he went to the top.
I talked to Denny this week about this entry, or this car,
Keep doing what you're doing there.
and running the Xfinity Series, and he told me that last year, corner one in practice, he hit the fence. Just was too aggressive. So I'm not surprised to see him come on late. He said he was going to take a very different approach, take a deep breath, run some laps of practice, qualify the best he can, and use the entire race to get used to this car that drives much different than his Cup car with different type steering, different sidewall tires. You add that to the fact of the crew chief on this 19 car, right? Jason Ratcliffe has 57 wins with 7 different drivers. So you give him a couple pit stops to adjust on it, and he's going to continue to make it better. And I think the total of that is what's making this 19 car surge here at the end.
The 21 of Austin Hill seems to be running different lines. Is he playing a game of chess here with Denny Hamlin?
I think he's just a hard car to pass no matter where we're going to race at. And he's a great little race car driver. I think in just the last year, he's added so much to his bag of tricks and his effort on the racetrack, and it matches the effort that he gets on pit road from his team and from the race team, Richard Childers. So when they put him in position, right, they've gotten him a lot of track position today. He goes out there and fights to keep it. He does everything he can, throwing blocks, keeping the driver behind him guessing on where he's going to go to try to maintain this lead.
Under 29 laps to go in this race. Austin Hill in front of Hamlin by just over 0.2 of a second. Hill trying to hold off Denny Hamlin at Darlington. Not very many people have ever been able to do it, but right now Hill has fought off that 19 2 and 3 times. The 19 has been up beside Austin Hill. He's not been able to complete the pass, and Hill holding on with under 25 laps to go.
Hill's doing a great job of holding one of the best ever here. Holding him off. He's changed his line. He's given Denny some different looks. Now up the racetrack, giving Denny the bottom of the racetrack. Sometimes he's giving Denny the top. Denny a big run right here.
See if he tries the slide job into 3. He's going to stay behind the 21. Can Denny be saving his tires at all by doing this, or is he fighting for everything he can get?
Well, it looks like the 21's moving around a lot here. Denny's car's pretty stable. Here he goes down the front straightaway. A big run for the 19. I don't know if Austin can fight this one off on the outside. He's there.
Still there, still there.
Denny finally clears him.
Clear.
I think Denny drives away. Much faster race car. Took his time, really patient on making this pass. You never really saw him slip the back of that 19 car anytime during this pass.
Super respectful. Racing Austin Hill, an Xfinity regular. He could have driven into one and used him up. Did not do that, passed him very clean. And I think that's what a Cup driver should do when they come Xfinity racing. You should give those guys a little more respect.
And to answer your question, Rick, I don't think the 19 was saving. I think to what the two drivers just said, I think this is what makes him so good at this racetrack is he knew that over driving the limit wasn't going to help him complete that pass. It was to fill up Austin Hill's mirror, which he did every corner, every lap. And to be honest, guys, I don't even see a mistake out of the 21. Like in the end, Denny just found his way by.
So the 19 out in front now, and these are the first 4 laps that the 19 has led. Let's go through the field. We'll start with Kim.
And Denny Hamlin out front, he told us during Countdown to Green he was going to be respectful of the full-time Xfinity Series drivers, but he wasn't going to give up a win. And while he said there's no benefit to being in this race, hard to believe that there wouldn't be a shot of momentum headed into tomorrow if he takes home his 6th checkered flag at Darlington in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, Marty.
Kim, while they were battling for the lead, I love the coaching from Derek Nealon, the spotter for Austin Hill, even telling him the logo into turn 3 where Denny Hamlin was letting off and also turning into the corner. Hill trying to get RCR's first ever win in the Xfinity Series here at Darlington. They reminded him a moment ago after the pass happened, hey, remember, we're the ones who have the long run speed. Let's use it, Kim.
John Hunter Nemechek in the 3rd position after leading 98 laps today. And while they do want a win, they would also settle for a solid weekend. The team told me they just need to right the ship before the playoffs. So a podium finish looking good for John Hunter Nemechek, Dave.
Cole Custer not able to accomplish one of their chief goals today, that being playoff points. Exhibit A, he came into this race 20 points in playoff points behind John Hunter Nemechek, had 1/3 of that amount. They didn't get any in stage 1 or 2. Nemechek took 2 more, and it doesn't look like he can get 5 for the win. Even though it's a strong run, Marty, he needed more.
Dave, let's give a tip of the cap to Taylor Moyer and Josh Berry. And Junior called it at the start of the race. So much complaining about how the 8 car was handling in the first stage and really second stage of this race, but it has come to life here. 19 to go. Josh Berry sits in 5th, looking at a top 5 here at Darlington, Dave.
Don't know if Riley Herbst would say his car came to life, Marty, but it has been a strong effort for them today. He's gotten it down to single digits. You see Herbst there, the first car in the red to the first car up in the green, Parker Kligerman. Just 9 points now separate them. Riley Herbst trying to make a comeback as they get down to the last 2 races before the playoffs, Marty.
Dave, a lot of credit goes to Chandler Smith today in what is really his first ever Xfinity race here at Darlington. Why? Well, because in the May race here, they got in a crash very early in the race. Did not get very many laps. Chandler Smith has kept it clean all day long, having an impressive run right now in 7th, Kim.
And how about Parker Retzlaff running in the 8th position? They got track position by staying out during the last caution. Although he's dropped spots, he has maintained a top 10 position, and that's what he was looking for this weekend, because if we rewind to the spring, his debut here at Darlington, he had top 10 speed, was running in the top 10 during stage 1 before an incident in stage 2. So the goal today was a top 10. That would be a win for this race team.
Spent some time with Parker in the garage yesterday. I'm not sure there's a nicer person. Just like smile from ear to ear, excited for the opportunity week in, week out to drive this race car. And I think it's a great fit. Jordan Anderson, I believe, puts everything back into this race team. And I think Parker behind the wheel gives Jordan Anderson and his race team everything he has. But look at that car. It's clean as the 39 goes around.
And so that means a restart as we see Ryan Sieg has spun in the 39. And Steve, you know these guys are coming for tires.
If you have a set, you better put them on for sure. Speaking of clean, that 39 car is pretty clean as well. I mean, that scratch on the right rear quarter panel, that doesn't even count, Darlington. That's a clean car.
The crew's getting ready. We have seen Austin Hill win the race off pit road many times. He just has not been able to stay up front. Take a look at the spin by Ryan Sieg in the 39 on his own.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, low grip. That's basically what happens. I mean, every in-car we see, I mean, you can make a highlight reel with every set of corners because everyone is basically on the edge. And the 39 just crossed over that edge just a little bit.
Well, Austin Hill and his pit crew, they have been on fire all day long. Sitting there running second. Denny Hamlin just got by him. This is what they wanted. Can they execute just like they've done all day? Can they make it count right now and get him back in the lead? And if they do, it will be a very difficult pass for Hamlin to get back by him.
But remember, Austin Hill has struggled on restarts. We have not seen him be able to keep the rear tires locked into the track.
Yeah, but I mean, their pit crew has been strong on pit road. They got a chance to be able to retake control of this race on pit road if they do come down. A lot of teams do have tires. We're going to see a lot on pit road. Saw a couple people stay out that last time. That didn't really work very well in their favor.
Yeah, and that was with only, what, 5 laps on their tires. Now they're going to have 24 or more, so.
Allgaier stayed out. That wasn't good. Retzloff actually held on pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, he's back in. He's only went back to 8th, so that was about where he started. So that worked out pretty well for him.
You just need a good, clean pit stop. You want it to be fast, but you don't want any problems. We've seen some problems on pit road that have cost a lot of positions for teams today. You definitely don't want that on this stop. It'll end the day.
And once they open pit road, it will be very busy. There are 29 cars on the lead lap.
Well, and that's going to take any issue you have on pit road. Remember, we keep talking about trying to win the race off pit road, but if you're the 98 or the 48, those cars in the bubble, and you have a hiccup here or an issue and lose time on pit road, you can lose 15 positions, 20 positions.
Right. The 48 of Parker Kligerman right now scored 13th. The 98 of Herbst 6th. And a long line of cars coming onto pit road, and they'll stop in front of Kim first.
And Denny Hamlin leading that charge, top left right there. He said he just got too loose towards the end of that run. It's going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires. So, and then as you look at John Hunter, top right there, he said, I am way better in traffic, not tight anymore. Leave it alone. No changes for John Hunter, Dave.
Maybe Cole Custer can achieve his big goal for the day. 5 playoff points if he can win the race. Air pressure and track bar adjustment on this car to make it better, Marty.
Dave, this should be good. The 21 team has gained a collective 9 spots for their driver, Austin Hill, on pit road today. He said, handling-wise, I'm back to 2 free on the throttle, and it takes too long for the car to come in. The other cars coming down pit road, they're on the left side of the 21. A bit of a longer stop, but they still, I don't know, drag race, they still win the race off pit road, Rick. Impressive day.
They really did a great job again. Austin Hill, he comes off pit road first, Nemechek, and then Hamlin. It was really close this time.
So once again, a terrific pit stop by Austin Hill and his crew, getting him off the pit road first. See how that will translate into how this race shakes out. Just a handful of laps left to go. There is the trophy that awaits the winner in Blue Oak Mortgage Victory Lane. When they cross the line here on the start-finish line, there will be 12 laps to go in this race for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. It's time for Selfie Cam. Get out your phones, scan the QR code on NASCAR TV for your chance to be featured on our big screen.
Busy day tomorrow. NTT IndyCar Racing at 3 o'clock on NBC and Peacock from Portland. Then right back here at Darlington for Countdown to Green and Cup Series playoff racing here at 6 o'clock. NASCAR American Post Race Show on USA and streaming on Peacock right after the checkered flag. And getting ready for the Choose to decide inside or outside, Steve.
Yeah, the 21 of Austin Hill, once again, fast pit working. Great pit stall. Remember, the pole last week at Daytona allows that team to pick first this week on pit road. They choose pit stall 1. It's only 20 feet to the camera. So, I mean, you drop the jack, you barely have to get the car rolling. One of the shortest distance all year long, and the 21 of Austin Hill using it to their advantage as he'll choose the bottom for the restart.
Watching where everyone goes here, as there will be 10 laps to go to determine who the winner of this race will be. And guys, we've had great finishes. Last lap passes for the win.
Yeah, some very aggressive racing right here. Sheldon Creed, he got up on the boards and tried to ride it all the way around there and ended up just destroying the car.
And then earlier this year, the 20 of John Hunter Nemechek gets into the inside of the 10 car of Kyle Larson. Larson able to get the victory lane. The wild finish there as well.
Can we anticipate another wild finish? As we have, you see, the most races with pass in the final 3 laps for the win comes either at Daytona or Darlington.
You wouldn't think that Darlington would be anywhere around a conversation with Daytona and Talladega, but here we are.
And Austin Hill has struggled on restarts. He's talked about spinning the rear tires, and some of his team said roll a little more speed to the restart zone. And I think that's great advice. Try to be going faster so you don't shock the tires. And I've always found the inside lane is hard to get going here. Let's see what he can do.
And big for Riley Herbst to be up there on the inside of row 2. 10 laps remaining at Darlington. John Hunter Nemechek with a great restart. Austin Hill diving into turn 1. Not going to be able to get in front of the 20, and John Hunter Nemechek takes the lead away again.
Austin Hill's got good forward momentum. Let's see what he does when he gets into 3. Is he going to use him up? Slide up the racetrack. He does not.
In front, the 21 of Hill. 9 laps to go. And he'll pull away now.
Big run for the 20 down the back straightaway. Hill struggled in turn 2.
Good exit. 5. Half 1 down.
The top 2 in the Xfinity Series. Fighting it out now with 8 laps to go in Darlington.
Oh, a little bit of block right here by Hill.
Up the racetrack. Now Hill's going to get loose. Look at that. Oh, does he hit the wall? No. John Hunter Nemechek gets him a little bit loose there, just arrow-wise.
And that gave Hamlin a big run. Hamlin right to the rear bumper of Nemechek.
Here he comes, looking to the inside of John Hunter Nemechek.
Now those 2 cars are going to be fighting it off right here. Down the front straightaway. A little side draft from Denny. That slows everything down. Hill driving away. Just a lap ago, Nemechek was right in the back bumper with an opportunity to take the lead. Now trying to fend off this challenge from the 19.
How aggressive can Denny Hamlin be with his teammate? He wants to overdrive the corner, slide him up the racetrack. He goes. Nemechek tried to slow down to cross him back over, but just gave up too much speed.
Around goes Parker Kligerman in the 48. Can he keep it off the wall? Caution has not come out yet. And now it's out.
And Parker had done a nice job on that restart. He had driven up to 12th, restarted in 14th in that position, somewhere around there, and I'm not sure what happened, but this could be a huge point swing.
Yeah, Riley Herbst right now running in the 6th position, and that puts Parker Kligerman all the way back in 31st. So Herbst is going to be in front as they run as far as the playoff spots are concerned.
He's by himself right here off into turn 3. Looks like there's going to be some contact. Sam Mayer gets into the back of him and turns him sideways. Parker drives it for all it's worth.
That is frustrating.
Yeah, you have to wonder what might have happened. Maybe in the corner before that or the lap before that for Sam to go down in the corner and get in the back of him.
Yeah, if you're Parker, you're like you said, we don't know what happened the lap before, but if you're Parker, you have to be upset. He came from 2 or 3 car lengths behind to make contact with you.
So now Parker Kligerman with under 5 laps to go.
Just so you know, the 48 just wrecked, so good news.
That was the radio for the 98 of Herbst.
Yeah, but look, that's good information, but not all at the same time, because you got to stay aggressive here, Junior. The only way you're going to pick up spots and the only way you're going to maintain position is by pushing the issue here. It's going to be a restart with only a few laps left to go. To me, Riley Herbst has done a nice job all day long. I need you to stay like that. I need you to keep pushing. And if you don't, you're going to get blown by, and you can get wrecked by not being aggressive enough. So, yeah, that's great information, but Riley needs to understand what his role is here, and that is to not just drive in the corner easy. That's to go to try pick up positions, Dave.
Parker, of course, not happy with Sam Mayer, and probably additionally because the car had come around so well. The pit stop ago, he was so happy with the way the car fired off, best it had been all day. The tires definitely flat spotted according to the driver. The scuffed or used tires that they're putting on, 7 or 8 laps on them. Parker will see how much time he can make up when he rejoins the race.
Yeah, so it's a double whammy, right? You lose your track position and also give up those fresh tires. Have to put some fresh used.
They're cooler, though, Steve, right? I mean, you're putting on tires that have 7 laps on them or so, as Dave reported, but they have no heat in them. So they still have a good chance of firing off pretty good.
They do. Unfortunate for him, though, with all the tires that the field had, they got like, 5 or 6 laps on them. But for sure, they're better than, some hot, worn-out tires.
Let's listen in to Sam Mayer's radio.
I tried to go high, but I wrecked both of us, if I knew that. I didn't know what to do. I have nothing right now. I feel so bad.
Well, I appreciate the description, but in the end, Sam's responsible for his car, and if you're the 48, the only way you can see that is the guy ran you down from a couple car lengths back and got you in the bumper. It's been a big year for Sam Mayer. He's gone to victory lane, but those are the situations that, Jeff, we talk about this a lot, right? This is the lead-in series to the Cup Series, right? This is where young drivers need to learn, and this is definitely a mistake by the 1 and something he'll need to learn from.
Yeah, you see he drives away from the 9 car, getting into the corner, and gains on the 48. So it wasn't like the 48 lifted early compared to the 9 behind the 1 car. So that was just Sam, he just shifted in the corner, and just once he got there, he didn't know what to do. And then he gets in the back of the 48, and Parker is the victim of Sam's mistake.
And I agree with his assessment that, hey, I didn't know what to do, because you just can't switch lanes. It's really about the entry speed, right? He just kind of misjudged it and didn't have many options when he got there.
Parker Kligerman running in the 30th position right now, so he can make up those 7 points that he's down. But there are just only 3 laps to go, KP.
Yeah, look, Hill, Hamlin, Nemechek, and then we got to talk about Herbst and all these other. There is no telling what's going to happen these last few laps. We couldn't diagram this and lay it out.
No, it can't, but Austin Hill needs a best restart of the day for sure. I'm not going to say of his life, but of the day, because his pit crew has done a great job putting him in his position. Now it's up to him to try to finish this thing off.
It's okay to block these last few laps, guys. It's okay.
So, Jeff, the question is, if you're Hill, you mentioned the inside lane not being great for acceleration. Do you try the outside lane, or do you stick with the inside and hope you've learned enough?
I think he just feels like, I'm just going to go with what I know. But to me, I think I'd like the outside. I just feel like you have a better opportunity with the outside. Now, with old hot tires, Austin has a distinct advantage because he knows when he's going to go. He's got to make that launch. You got to not spin the rear tires and kind of surprise Hamlin. Marty.
Meanwhile, Sheldon Creed is sitting in 9th. It has not been a good day, especially considering the expectations coming into the race for Creed, who really ran around 15th for much of the day. But Jeff Stankiewicz, his crew chief, reminded him before this restart, hey, it's been a good day. Listen.
Right now, you're having a very good points day. Just got to finish this off.
Very good points day. A lot of people are looking at points.
Well, you just don't, he's plus 59 right now. And what I hear is, look, this should lock us in mathematically. Let's not you know, make a huge mistake here, and then go to Kansas and have another mistake. Let's just make sure we're in. And just remember, this restart is very important to talk about the rules, right? The leader gets the chance to accelerate first, but that's really it. Once he starts to go, if he spins the tires, if he doesn't go, Denny Hamlin can go. He can pass him to the start-finish line. All that is within the rules.
Yeah, Barry could lock himself in based on points. But now, who's going to win? Overtime, presented by Credit One Bank. Austin Hill on the inside. Hamlin spinning the tires on the outside.
He's getting a good push by his teammate, John Hunter Nemechek.
Hamlin clears Hill as they go through 2. Now here comes Austin Hill trying to fight back on the inside. Deep into turn 3. Slides up the racetrack, not able to clear the 20 or the 19. The 20 of John Hunter Nemechek pressuring now one more time around. The fight for second is on, but Denny Hamlin trying to check out. John Hunter Nemechek to the inside of Austin Hill. Hamlin with a 6-car length advantage. Denny Hamlin is going to make it 6 at Darlington. 6 times to victory lane.
Good job there, man. Hell yeah. Go ahead and get that switch back up. Do some burnouts here. Good job, man.
Sheldon Creed, a good points day in 8th. Riley Herbst, a great points day, finishes in 6th. Parker Kligerman unofficially will finish 24th. And we see Kligerman to the side of the 1 now.
Got to keep a camera on these.
Here that jeopardize next week, okay?
That's good advice. We definitely need to keep a camera on these guys when they get out of the car. I know Parker will want to have a word with Sam.
So Denny Hamlin begins his celebration on the front stretch. And very late in this race, Parker Kligerman gets spun around by Sam Mayer, and that changes the playoff picture a lot. Over the past couple years, Denny Hamlin has gone from being well liked amongst the fans to now it almost is an equal amount of boos that get rained down from the grandstands. We'll see how he's received when he gets out of the car here at Darlington. Denny on the Cup Series side got into the back of Chase Elliott at Martinsville. That didn't go over well. Earlier this year at Richmond with Kyle, or excuse me, at Pocono with Kyle Larson. I think it was equal. Kim, what'd you think?
I don't know. Let's ask the man himself. A 6-pack, 6 wins at Darlington in the Xfinity Series. It seems like a mixed bag. You got some boos, you got some cheers. What do you think?
Yeah, just proud to do this for Gordon Logan. Everyone at Sport Clips has been such a supporter of my career for such a long time. So thank you to Sport Clips and Help a Hero. You know, appreciate everyone at Joe Gibbs Racing for the opportunity to let me come do one Xfinity race per year. And it's great to have a win.
When we talked earlier, you said it wasn't going to be a walk in the park. These cars very hard to feel for you after being in the Cup car. How long did it take to find a rhythm?
Yeah, it took a while. I mean, I really needed some long runs, but I really didn't want to show everything that we had till the very end of the race there. So we really did a good job of maintaining what we had. And, man, just it's going to be cool to see that race play out, but still it was a great win.
Congrats, and get that checkered flag. Denny Hamlin's going to go to the boos of the crowd, grab his checkered flag for his 6th win here at Darlington. in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He actually finds a Denny Hamlin fan and gives the checkered flag back to that fan.
So many wins for Denny Hamlin in his career, and a very cool gesture there to give that fan the checkered flag. Well, Denny Hamlin will now head to the Ruoff Mortgage victory lane, where he'll celebrate with his team. Having a little fun with the crowd there. Number one, he said. That's what you mean, number one. Yes, he did. Got to win again at Darlington.
So as Denny Hamlin makes his way to Ruoff Mortgage victory lane, let's hear from some of the other top finishers. We'll start first with the driver that came home second this afternoon. That was Austin Hill.
That goes in Austin Hill down here. Austin, kind of describe that last restart and what you had at the front, what more you needed.
Yeah, it was every restart that we had when I was leading. I was really back and forth on which lane I wanted to be in. If I wanted to be in the inside lane, outside lane, I knew the inside lane was getting the jump a lot. And I was having a tough time.
19 has made it into victory lane, the Ruoff Mortgage victory lane. And so Denny Hamlin will start celebrating with his crew. Want to take a look at the playoff standings with one race to go. In the regular season, John Hunter Nemechek, Austin Hill had a great battle there late in this race. They've got 5 and 4 wins respectively. Look down at the cut line now. You see Riley Herbst in, Parker Kligerman out 1 point, separating those two. And also Josh Berry now is in yellow because he's locked in based on points.
Yeah, I think Sheldon Creed and Daniel Hemrick, while mathematically it may not be over, if those two cars just fire off at Kansas and can make a few laps, I think they got to be pretty good. But this conversation around the cut line is going to be interesting, and some comments from the driver of the 48, Dave.
Yeah, that is Parker Kligerman. That ride on the cut line continues. You're now below. A little mistake at one point in this race led to what I thought was a pretty good adjustment. The car got better, and then, of course, the contact with the one. Assess today.
Yeah, I feel like, we were probably about a 10th place car, 8th to 10th, for our Spike Light core Chevy here at Big Machine Racing. And I'm proud of, the way we executed this weekend, and even with having a loose wheel, to come back from that, having to make a bunch of adjustments, then just get flat run over by the one car. I mean, it's just so disappointing. Sam's a friend of the team. His dad is too, but I know he's won races, but he just does dumb stuff like that all the time. I don't know what the reasoning is, but he's got to clean it up. Hey, we're going to keep it interesting, right? So thanks to Scott Borchetta and everyone, Sandy Borchetta, for the opportunity here. We're gonna keep it fun and exciting for the TV at Kansas, make a show out of it, and we will find ourselves in. I felt like we were in a decent position. I knew how well Herbst was running, but we weren't far behind him. We kept him in check. We should put a show on next week.
You know this question because you've asked it before. Do you need to go have a conversation with Sam?
Hell yeah, definitely.
Understandably, guys. Marty?
Dave, let's chat with Austin Hill. Man, it looked like for a while this was going to be his race. You said that one makes me mad. Walk me through that final restart.
Yeah, I mean, really all day I'd been struggling with wheel spin. I was trying to clean up the tires differently each time, and you can see right there I've still spun the tires a little bit, and I just didn't get rolling good enough, and the 19 had an edge on me. Tried to go really low into one to try to take some distance, and in doing that I got really tight, and that's kind of what allowed the 19 to clear me. Got into him a little bit off of 2 there, I think, and I went to just full send into 3, and when I did it, when I got beside him, I just got kind of pinned, and I couldn't go back to throttle. So at that point, I was just trying to keep the 20 behind me and see if I could get a surge again on the white flag lap. But me and the 20 just had a good battle there at the end, and it allowed the 19 to get away from us. But solid effort for everyone on this Bennett Chevrolet. Everybody at RCR and ECR has been working really hard. I just need to go back to the drawing board and figure out what I'm doing wrong on the restarts right there, because that was really frustrating all day today. It didn't matter where I was restarting. I would buzz the tires really bad and just would lose track position every time I would do it. So I got to do a better job of that if I'm going to win a championship. And but all in all, solid effort for us, P2. That's kind of something that we've been preaching the last 6 races. If you can't be first, be second. If you can't be second, be third. And we were second today, but it still stings a little bit when you want to win.
And maybe most importantly for Austin Hill, still plus 23 in the regular season points lead, Dave, with 1 race to go.
Important thing for Riley Herbst and his team was coming back after Daytona last week. You're now +1 to the cut line. What's the ride like?
It's just frustrating. I don't think we had a good enough car here to win today, and that's our ultimate goal, is to come here and win races. So that playoff stuff is cool, but like I was telling Davin and Zipadelli, that I really want to win races, and I want to win them now. So we got some work to do to find some speed compared to the top 5. I felt like we maybe had a 5th place car here today, but we'll take this Monster Energy car and move on to Kansas and continue to do what we did today and just execute. Run every lap, be there at the end, and see where the chips fall.
Kansas will be exciting, guys.
Definitely, as we have 1 race to go in the Xfinity Series of the regular season before the playoffs start. All right, Steve, thoughts about this one? Nemechek seemed to have dominated the race.
Well, you have to feel a little bad for Nemechek. Had a great car in the spring, fell a little short, had a great car here, and just kind of lost control of the race in the final stage. No surprise that Denny Hamlin found what it took at the end. Austin Hill, though, guys, continues to impress, right? We think about him as a speedway racer, but every track we go to, he finds his way inside the top 5, if not better.
That was going to be my thought. Austin Hill is answering some questions that I had about, can he win this championship? Can he take the fight to John Hunter Nemechek as the favorite? I think so, because of his run today here at a driver's racetrack.
And he's not the only one sitting there questioning himself, how do I restart at Darlington without buzzing the rear tires? That's been a problem forever. And I think if you're Riley Herbst, you got to feel really good about where you are. I feel like they've had more pace than the 48 most of the year. Now they go basically in a tie to Kansas with a chance to get in the playoffs.
And again, tomorrow, a big day for motorsports NTT IndyCar Series racing from Portland at 3 o'clock. That's on NBC and streaming on Peacock. Then the first race of the playoffs for the Cup Series. Countdown to Green gets us started at 5:30, 6 o'clock for the race, and 10:30 on USA and streaming on Peacock for the NASCAR America post-race show. Let's go to the Peacock pit box and KP and DJ. Are we expecting the same kind of race, just twice as long tomorrow?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, at least that. Yeah. I mean, Denny Hamlin is just so good. He thinks everything through, and he's the one guy that can sweep this weekend, and I would not be surprised if that happens tomorrow night.
No, I think if you're a Cup driver watching that race, you watch the way that Denny ran that race. He said, didn't want to show them all at the same time. Denny took those boys to school at the end of the race, and they shouldn't be disappointed. They should go back, watch this, and learn and watch how Denny put a whole race together. So I think these guys in the garage area, the guys in the Cup Series, the guys that are in the playoffs have to watch and take note of what Denny Hamlin did today.
So we take a look at the points as we get into tomorrow night. Maybe, there's always, we talk about what's the most important race of one of the rounds. Well, the first one you've got to get through and figure out. And somebody is probably going to almost eliminate themselves or put themselves in a must-win situation tomorrow night.
It happens in almost every first round since we've started the playoff system. As somebody will make a mistake and basically take themselves out and not move on to the next round. The deal is this is so close this year. When we look from Brad Kay in 9th back to Bubba Wallace, it's 10 points. It's 10 points. We saw Parker Kligerman have a 22-point swing today. So if we compare today to tomorrow, there's going to be some movement in this group tomorrow.
Rick, well, one thing we found out today, trying to beat Denny Hamlin at Darlington is about as hard as trying to beat him on the golf course.
Yeah, well, he's won 4 times in the Cup Series here as well, and you see him right now slotted there in 3rd on the playoff standings. Okay, so tomorrow, what can we expect, Steve? A lot more laps, but a lot more sets of tires, too.
Yeah, well, listen, I think it's going to look a lot the same, and much like the disagreement between the 1 and the 48, I expect someone to make someone unhappy. There's going to be some aggression out there. I'll agree with DJ with mistakes, but I will add this. From what I saw out of the playoff guys in practice, somebody advances with a win. A playoff driver wins this race tomorrow.
Yeah, 2 guys coming in here with the championship, with the lead in the championship. William Byron starting 23rd, and Martin Truex Jr. starting 31st. So both of those guys, the 2 favorites, they have some work to do.
Let's hear from Sam Mayer. Kim has caught up with him.
Yeah, Sam Mayer taking the blame on the radio for the incident with Parker Kligerman. Parker called it a dumb move, said you guys are going to need to talk. What do you envision that conversation looking like?
Yeah, we're going to have to talk. I effed up, and it sucks. Obviously, the radio issues all day got in the way of whatever that was. And we had brake problems in and out all day, and I could never relay that to the team to help fix it. And the motor was hot all day. It was just, there was nothing right about today, and it sucks. And I hate that it took our deal down and it took their deal down and kind of ruined both days. It sucks, but the car was fast as itself. I mean, it was as fast as Xfinity 10G, but we're going to have to get some other internal stuff fixed going into the playoffs because too many issues in one day. Hopefully we're getting it all the way, but man, it certainly blows right now.
And so Sam Mayer talks about an issue that he just had there. Junior, obviously, you know, one of your drivers there, he claims it was a mistake.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he's being honest about it. You know, you're going to make mistakes on the racetrack. Unfortunately, in this situation, it was a big deal for Parker. He's racing to try to get into the playoffs, and that's going to make it more difficult for that team.
One race remains in the regular season for the Xfinity Series before the playoffs get underway. But tomorrow, it's the Cup Series taking center stage here for the Southern 500. Denny Hamlin wins the Xfinity Series. Can he sweep? More NASCAR and motorsports coverage always available on NBCSports.com. Coming up next on USA, it's Chicago PD.